What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a good day, afternoon, evening. When I first planned this video, I was gonna call it Hero Shooters Were Never Team Games. However, I think that's a little dramatic. It's not really true either. When you think back to the more archaic games, the more ancient games, like Team Fortress 2, the original Overwatch, Paladins, may God rest its soul, Battleborn. It was more so focused on team play. They definitely predate the current era where everything is rooted within ego, blaming, and the refusal to do things because it's in the greater interest of the team. And a lack of communication. That's the biggest one. I'm talking about the games like Rivals and Overwatch 2, but not actually Overwatch 2. It's Overwatch now, but that's confusing because the first Overwatch was called Overwatch, and this is Overwatch 2. It's the second Overwatch, and it's really just a continuation of the first game, even though this game only has like a bunch of heroes and stuff and like new moves, so it's not really the second game. It's kind of just like Overwatch 1.5, but they don't want to call it 1.5, so they call it 2, but they actually don't want to call it 2 either, so they drop the 2. When I play both of these games, more often than not, I would read the text chat and see somebody blaming someone else for their death, or them expecting a teammate to do something that they want them to do without properly saying or typing exactly what they want done. Like their mind is supposed to be read or something. So I believe that the key word here is communication, or rather, the lack of it. That is what I think is causing all of these interactions. It really seems like when there is communication, it's resulting in flaming or just someone unmuting, hoping they can get a clip saying some stupid shit.
I'm a Bucky main now, bro. Forget it, bro. I'm a Bucky main now. Hi, sound you was good, bro.
Yo, are you black?
Because you can just tell when a person unmutes and you know just like for the rest of the game they're not going to say nothing insightful. Anyway, my point is the lack of communication influences the amount of blame being passed around. And usually if someone does give comms, they might as well be speaking to a wall because there's no response back. And the lobbies are usually just silent. Like in my experience, like when I play with my friends or just other people have told me that there's just no talking. It's just straight playing. And I think there could be a multitude of reasons for this. And all of them lead to social media. So if you go on to YouTube, you type in Marvel Rivals voice chat into the YouTube search bar, you'd be greeted with a plethora of videos showcasing various types of players ranging from the annoying ones, the funny ones, and the toxic ones. And since we know how the internet works, obviously clips from these videos are going to be posted elsewhere in order to gain viewership for the content creator. Because the long form videos are on YouTube and then the short form ones are on TikTok, Instagram, etc. You know, ends up on your feed. You watch maybe 3 or 5 of these videos, and then I think that puts the idea in your mind that you might run into somebody like that, or if you're that type of person, you want to be the person in those videos. But then there is the idea of perception that enters your mind, right? So let's say you want to be the guy who's an asshole or the guy who's funny, right? You're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get this clip. As soon as they unmute their mic, I'm gonna say fuck you. So in your head, you're thinking that's funny, right? But then you start thinking, you're like, okay, maybe it's not that funny. Okay, maybe I'll be the nice guy. And then you're like, hey guys, what's going on? This is my rank up game. Who are we playing? What's the team comp looking like? I mean, dudes don't say this is their rank game, their rank up game. I mean, sometimes they do, but like it's just. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. You ask about team comp stuff like that, but then you might be worried that someone's going to come in and be the asshole and say "fuck you" for no reason, and then that causes a stalemate essentially, where nobody is speaking. Or, like I said, you got the funny guy who's scared to be funny because he thinks he might receive something from the asshole. Or then you might get the asshole who's scared that he might receive something from the funny guy because he's being an asshole and he thinks it's funny but it's not actually funny. And then the team is like, what are you talking about? Get muted. And then you don't want to be muted. So there's just a bunch of mental gymnastics going on that just results in nobody talking at all. I think when you are altruistic in these games, it really is kind of like, I don't want to say necessarily frowned upon, but it's more so ignored than anything. More often than not, these types of people are kind of like, yeah, I just want to have a good game and communicate with my teammates, but nobody wants to talk because of this perception word. But there's also another possibility where you just don't feel like talking to people. Like it's not worth the effort. You don't feel like typing. You don't feel like unmuting, and I can understand that. or you know, you're just a woman, because we know how certain people on the internet be moving when they get that feminine voice in their game, and you know them boys get to talking crazy.
You can call me daddy.
Hello, me from the future here. Currently editing, and I'm noticing in my research for these videos, right? Two things. A lot of the people who fit within the asshole archetype kind of just keep going until someone says something, and then even if someone says something, they don't stop, and they kind of get a thrill off being annoying. And I guess I can understand that. To each their own, bro. Like I said, that's why the mute button exists. But yeah, the mental gymnastics thing, I think it still applies, but it may not be as widespread as I thought at the time of writing. And the second thing is that the things that people say to these women on the game are really really nasty and really strange. It's crazy, bro. I didn't know it was really this bad. Like I knew it was bad, but like damn, we really got some perverts and some freaks running around here. But back to what I was saying. In addition to housing these types of people, the videos also set unrealistic expectations for the viewers. I'm not talking about the voice chat videos, but more so the ones that are about unranked to GM. The ones that are made by pro players or veterans of the genre. And their gameplay is certainly at a high level, and that level people aspire to play at. In turn, people watch these players and expect to start moving like a top 500 Genji after watching a few unranked to GM videos, thinking that this type of skill can just develop overnight. You really gotta put in that work. Like, hey, introduce them with 50 aim training routines. You know what I'm saying? Players need to realize that this shit takes years of time and commitment, which the average gamer, let's be honest, does not really have, unless you really want to get there. But I think the majority, like I said, the average gamer, they don't got that gumption. To clarify, I think because we live in an age of information overload and instant gratification, this type of dedication to something, let alone a video game, is getting rarer. However, after watching one of these videos, I think we tend to get a little deluded and expect our teammates to behave like the ones that the pros have. So when there's a huge skill gap between our lobby and their lobby, we're like, hold on, I just watched this video and why are my teammates not capping point like that? Hello? So logic would tell us that we should not expect our teammates to have aim like this dude and expect it to be more like this dude. Depending on where you are on the rank ladder, of course. What I'm saying is, the consumption of seeing other people's experiences online really influences you to interact with the game in a certain way. Or maybe speaking is just not for you. But all of these options result in the same thing. Less communication equals less team play equals more solo play, which then equals possibly more blame. Since nobody's airing their grievances, soon as you turn on that rival, soon as you turn on that Overwatch, I have taken a vow of silence. I will never speak to anyone again. It's like, why? What's the point of this? Like I said before, if you don't want to talk, that's cool, but like, I feel like there's people out there who just scared because of that perception, man, and it sucks. I think that this silence perpetuates that solo play mindset, and this solo play mindset can go one of two ways. The way of the egoist, or the way of the adapter, no USB. So, the way of the egoist is one in which teammates do not matter. They cosmetic. They just bots on the screen. And all the egoist wants to do is get them kills. They only care about that clip, that play of the game, that moment, that win. Those type of dudes, they're like, huh? Out of my way. Those move it type of guys. All that matters to them is being able to press tab and see that number go up, have MVP next to their name in the case of rivals. If they successfully go in 1v5, hey, good on them. Nice clip. Cool shit. But if it goes wrong, suddenly it's never their fault. Suddenly, where are my healers? What are you doing? My team! And I would say it's good to limit testing games, you know, see how much you can do as one guy, but like don't throw, bruh. If it's cool to see if you can handle such a challenge, but don't like consistently do that. And when it fails, claim that nobody was with you. Like I said, ask what your supports are. The complaints always begin with my team, my team, my team. Let's talk about the other side, the way of the adapter. The way of the adapter is a tranquil, a peaceful, relaxed life, a path of adaptation, as the name suggests. They attempt to work with the team that they have and just keep playing as per usual. Whatever problems may arise, they ignore them and keep trying to get their team to victory, whatever it takes. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone's an egoist, bro. It's never their fault. It's easier to point out their team's flaws and press tab to receive their dopamine. And I think it's a mindset of, at least I'm not doing as bad as that guy. Dude's KD looks like a day in March. And hey, I'm good. My shit even, you know? Which then causes the dude who's doing bad to get called out. But in some cases, that's necessary, as it's clear that a certain team comp isn't working or the person playing is not contributing enough value to the team. But what if they're also an egoist as well? What if they don't care about what their teammates have to say because of how I described the egoist previously? Like, they may know they're doing badly, but they're still chasing that clip. They don't care about what you have to say. So, like I said, it goes both ways. And imagine this. They might just blame you for losing their 1v5 because they were feeling like Madara that game. Bro, you're not in the Great Ninja War, bro. You one of the dudes in the background actually getting clapped up by Madara. You don't even got a fully animated face, bro. Relax. So now, recall earlier how I said your teammate's KD is a day on the calendar. It wasn't that long ago, but still. Imagine if when you press tab, the only stats that showed up were your own. Do you think that interaction would even happen? Like, do you really think that stuff like that would occur as frequently as it does? How do you think that would affect the way you play and interact with people in your games? Personally, I really think that it would be a lot more difficult to call out teammates because you can't even see numbers, and you have to actually straight up pay attention to what your team is doing. Except for the egoists killing themselves, because they gonna go into that fight and keep killing themselves to that clip. They itching at their neck till it bleeds because they need that blade play of the game, bro. Because you understand, bro. You understand. My Mercy is watching and my ult button is connected to her love vents. I need this. Thinking about it now, I think there's like a subcategory of egoists that's like that, where it's just straight up just full steam ahead, no brakes. I'm just doing whatever the fuck I want. And then there's the other egoists that are a little more tamer, like the ones I was talking about earlier, where you just checking your KD to see if you're doing better. Anyway, being able to look at the leaderboard and see how your teammates are doing incentivizes blame. Now, it's not necessarily a bad system as it provides a good amount of information, but it makes you focus on the numbers, and more often than not, you're pressing it to see how well you're doing compared to everyone else to make sure either A, your KD doesn't convert to a percentage, or B, to see if someone else's KD converts to a percentage. So, if you successfully avoided situation A, then good for you. You're probably not going to take any heat, but like I said, if you failed situation A, it's time to brace for impact. But you know what's interesting though? Of all the groups I've talked about, I haven't brought up the one that occupies most of the player base for these games. The most dominant people who play this game. The trend followers. The super casuals. The ones who hop on solely for the vibes and want to play various flavor of the month games. I don't even gotta name them because you know exactly the ones I'm talking about. Of course, there's nothing wrong with this. Hanging out with your friends is fire. But when these type of people will occupy your games and they don't care about the outcome of a match, they don't care to learn about the intricacies of the game at all. Again, this is not an issue. I'm just saying they hop on the free game only because it's free, and because it's free and accessible, accessibility means that the number of players with this mentality is going to keep increasing. Therefore, the desire to win the game isn't equal. There is no commitment. There's a mismatch in team goals. Because for them, the goal is instead to maximize the amount of fun that can be had, while they flaunt their skins that they bought with their money that was supposed to go to rent, but that Hello Kitty skin was calling their name. Despite everything I mentioned before though, a lot of us still play the game, still queue ranked, and I think it's just because We've been conditioned to participate in the feedback loop that is ranked itself. The climb is addictive. At the end of the match, you will know immediately whether or not you're about to fall to your death or ascend to new heights. Even though there may be mental anguish, getting that sweet, sweet PNG near your username is all that really matters. Whether you're a super casual or not, you know, just seeing that color changes is nice. So, let me know what you guys thought. Um, Share the same opinions. Have you had similar experiences? Have you noticed the same thing? Just let me know. But for now, that's all I have. If you finished this video, I appreciate it. More of it is to come. Hopefully I'll catch y'all on the next one. And yeah, I'll see y'all. The goal is instead to maximize the amount of fun that can be had, while they flaunt their skins that they bought with their money that was supposed to go at rent, but that Luna Snow skin seduced their pockets, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck does that even mean?